Are you feeling lost, overwhelmed, and scattered trying to get started in trading cryptocurrencies? I don't blame you. All the websites, the news, the media, the talking heads, where do we start? Rest assured we've got you covered. Sean Kozak here, tuning in again with Street Trading Academy. And for the world's best education and trading strategies, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on. That way, when we put out content like this, you can get results. Last but not least, give me a thumbs up. That way we know you're engaging in the content. Now, I want to talk about cryptocurrency trading and why this video is a pillar in building a strong foundation. One of the biggest discussions in our school, especially our live trading rooms, is how do we get started in the crypto space and how do we decipher all of the mystical noise that nobody needs to worry about so we can only focus on the key topics. And we're going to start you off on the path today, and let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about the evolution of cryptocurrencies and how it came to be and what's actually taking place in the space right now. Then we're going to talk about developing trust. It's a new environment. It's a new space. So many people don't understand it, and this is exactly why we need to point you in the right direction. The next thing here is we want to talk about the supporting parties, the companies, the brokers, the exchanges, who's getting involved and why. And then we're going to go into mass adoption, right? It's kind of like the dot-com bubble. Nobody thought the internet would stay, but now it's a staple in everybody's lives, right? Mass adoption is here to stay, and so is cryptocurrency. And the last one here is getting in. One of the biggest discussions I hear across thousands of traders is how do I get in? I don't want to miss the boom. I want to be able to take advantage of it. And where do I start? And this video is definitely going to drive you, boss, and guide you in the right direction. So I don't want to waste any more time on the topics on the board. I want to get right in the examples and get into the screens. We'll see you on the charts. All right, traders, welcome to the Intro to Crypto program. In this video, we're going to be breaking down Crypto Explained Part 1, an introductory lesson on cryptocurrency markets. And I want to kind of start this intro course off by kind of sharing a little bit of a personal experience I've had with cryptocurrency. And hopefully you can resonate with it moving forward into this lesson because you may have a lot of trading experience in other assets. Maybe you've been trading stocks, futures, forex, options, and you're just trying to learn about cryptos, or maybe you have no experience at all and you're trying to get into the cryptocurrency trading environment. The purpose for this message is I've been an experienced trader for over 10 years, essentially. And I've had the privilege of working with thousands of traders from all over the world. And even with that type of experience, when cryptocurrency was introduced to the industry, I still didn't really understand it. I felt overwhelmed by it. I didn't understand what was taking place by it. It wasn't something that I was familiar with. There was a lot of new technology that was getting introduced to the industry, and therefore it basically became overwhelming and a little bit scary to say the least, because even though myself and a lot of the people in my inner circle have a lot of trading experience, it was still kind of daunting. So I can only imagine what it would feel like for new traders coming in that have never ever had that experience before, or even if you're like me and you've had experience and you still didn't understand how to break it down. So what my team and I did is we surrounded ourselves with professional crypto traders. We actually integrated. We brought a very experienced cryptocurrency representative into the business. They were basically here to help contribute to the content. They helped teach me and people around me the deep dive aspects of the crypto space. And through the months of basically just diving into all the platforms and working with the charting platforms and the brokers and just getting a deep dive understanding of the cryptocurrency space, we've been able to create a course which I think will demystify your efforts to becoming well-rounded in this space. And we've built it in a way to take the simplest things and build on them so that you can truly gravitate towards experience. I truly feel that after you go through this crypto course, you will truly have a leg to stand on and you will definitely understand what's going on. And I'm all about keeping it simple. And I'm all about basically making sure that if you're going to learn how to trade something, let's not overcomplicate it, but you still need to understand the industry so that you can participate with experience. So that's my kind of preamble for the course. I know it's a little bit of a long-winded intro, but the point is I want to make sure you feel comfortable moving forward because I understand where you are and where you would like to go with this information. So the first thing I want to do is I really want to talk about how we got here, okay? Essentially, we started as an economy in the evolutionary process in bartering economies, right? I'll trade your silk for your sword, so to speak, right? Back in the day, you know, that's exactly, if you're familiar with history, right? A bartering economy is a cashless economic system. And barter-based economies are one of the earliest forms of predating monetary systems, even to recorded history, right? And it essentially, one modern day example might be exchanging content creation for research on stocks or providing tech support for a baker in exchange for baking goods in return. You know, these are just kind of random examples, but such examples are not uncommon. But because barter is based on reciprocation, it requires a mutual coincidence of wants or needs between traders. And this, of course, is hard to scale. And so to kind of keep it simple, you know, we don't operate under a bartering economy anymore, right? We've moved to a fiat currency legal tender. And that's essentially what you and I and everyone is using now. If you think about the US Treasury or the dollar or even foreign exchange, we use a fiat currency. And, you know, that is, you know, based off government implementation. It's, you know, it's based on fiscal policy. You know, it's based on currency issue and debt auctions. It's based off interest rate decisions. It's based off everything to do with the received trust of value, so to speak. We only use money because we trust it's worth something, but that's because our government says it is, right? And that's because as an economy, we've adapted to that. A fiat currency could ultimately be a Visa card, right? We trust a Visa because it's accepted and it's used in our economy because it's legal tender. And what has happened is, you know, we've evolved, and it's not a good thing, it's not a bad thing, it's just evolution. And so cryptocurrency is the idea that we can that value can be stored more efficiently without a central government. Okay? And you can only imagine what that did for government acceptance, government reciprocation. You can only imagine what that means to the banking industry or the ability to have privacy or any of these things. And so what has happened is we've come to a new period of evolution where cryptocurrency represents a store of value that is based on an idea, so to speak, that a consensus from mass amounts of people can become more efficient and reliable than a central store of value. And people have difficulty grasping this concept because the transfer and storage of value is digital and as opposed to backed by something physically like gold. And so this is kind of where everybody kind of got nervous, right? They kind of got nervous in terms of what to expect, and you know, they don't know if they should trust it, and you know, these types of things. And realistically, I don't blame anyone for thinking that way. It's new. Nobody likes things new. People like to stay in their routines, and change is change. But then once, if you look at the .com bubble, nobody thought the internet was going to be the next big thing, and the next thing you know, here we are, and we're completely controlled by the internet. And it's not that, I mean, I personally would not be able to live without the internet, right? I mean, it's just such a huge part of our daily existence. And I'm not saying I couldn't, I would just prefer not to, right? It's something that we rely on as part of our everyday life. So I believe that through the evolution of time and through the evolution of technology, that we're starting to come together as a society as a whole, as a global economic participation of influence, and now we have the ability to kind of deep dive into a new, more modern way of essentially storing value on currencies, or storing a store of value towards, you know, an alternative method, right? And that's what I want to do here, is I want to talk a little bit about that, right? So like any functioning form of currency, cryptocurrencies facilitate payments between one party to the other, right? So, cryptocurrencies can be used to buy things, sell, and accept payment for things. And this is where, trader or people in general didn't really understand that at first, right? What's special about them is that they can serve those roles even in environments where trust or lack of trust is a problem. Trust is implicit for practical any means of payment. And this is an economist, Michael Lee, said this, right? I mean, this is coming from guys at the top. And so the main thing here is I want to kind of break down the element of trust. Central governments are inefficient, which is why the world is looking to streamline the transfer of value. And what do we mean by we're trying to reduce manipulation, right, around interest rates, never-ending debt ceilings, lack of consensus, right? This affects everybody, giving power back to the people, and supply and demand. It unites the world and helps determine the true value of an asset. And I'll give you an example. We're asked to trust the governments in a trustless world, yet we see corruption ever present, financial manipulation, unstable debt levels, and increased instabilities in the central governments. And, giving an example would be when Greece fell deeper into financial distress. You get an example back in 2015, the Greek interest in trading in Bitcoin rose quickly amidst fears of capital controls and the possibility of exiting the Eurozone. And so Bitcoin became attractive as trust eroded. Venezuela is currently doing this. Their hyperinflation has rendered their currency nearly worthless, and the government is trying to attach their country's oil reserves, which is the main driver of their GDP, to a crypto asset. So you can understand that it's not just about trying to get you and me to adopt cryptocurrency. It has a lot more to do with alternative methods of value transfer, using different ways to essentially evolve as economies, evolve as, ways of doing business, evolve as ways of transferring value from one store of purchase to another. And, without such extreme cases, most of us can understand that having an intermediary injected between supply and demand is an inefficient means of transferring value. And humans are imperfect, and central organizations will do what's best for themselves, which has been proven throughout history time and time again. And so by streamlining the process to transfer value from one individual to another and reducing the opportunity for manipulation, transactions of all kinds becoming more trustworthy in a trustless environment, this is because, we can look to use an alternative method. And trust is earned, right? I think that trust is earned. And so when we look to do things, we need to see that it's becoming adapted. And I do think that that's the main thing, is that it is becoming adapted. So when we look at consensus and efficiency, the real reason cryptocurrency is the best example to describe the shift to blockchain and to distributed ledger technology. So we'll get into what blockchains are, and we'll get into what distributed ledger technology is. It's because it's used to store value and it's used to transfer ownership of value. Like, the only reason the dollar bill is used is because we believe it's worth something. It's just a piece of paper that everybody uses as a store of value that we use to buy something, right? If we never had the dollar value, like if we didn't believe that fiat currency was worth something because our government said it is, or because the economy accepted it as legal tender, then we would probably use something else. Like maybe we would go to the grocery store with sunglasses and pay for our food with sunglasses instead of if we felt that sunglasses were the way that we bought and sold things, right? So you got to understand it has to do with understanding the acceptance of new technology. So if we're going to use cryptocurrency to buy and sell things, or if we're going to trade cryptocurrency as day traders or investors, we need to believe it's worth something. We need to understand that it has value and that it's been accepted in our economies, and that it's being accepted by governments and accepted by businesses and it's accepted by the retail public. That's the whole purpose in building trust in the consensus of its efficiency. Okay, so let's kind of talk a few things here. JP Morgan said there's a growing realization that distributed ledger technology, okay, popularly known as blockchain, will bring a radical shift in the way we think about financial assets and the way the financial industry will operate in the future, okay? And we're going to talk about distributed ledger technology and blockchain later. We're going to talk about all of that, okay? But the main thing to know is that, when you start seeing bigger companies, banking juggernauts, things that are people that are in control of our economic flow of capital amongst the street and Wall Street and sort of thing. When they start talking about this stuff, they start bringing it into the limelight, people start to listen, right? And then basically what ends up happening is when, it's kind of like follow the leader, so to speak. When one guy starts to do it, then the next guy starts paying attention to it. One big bank starts thinking, hey, let's check this out. Then the next big bank starts checking it out. Next thing you know, you get the debate between the global leaders, and they're saying, well, we don't trust this. And then, okay, we do trust this. And so what ended up happening is if we look at, this is the director of the new business at the Royal Mint, David Jenskowski, said, the distributed ledger technology is a game changer, and supplying gold on blockchain has been in our minds for some time now. But only after partnering with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange Group did we feel it had the right to fit as proposition. Which means by aligning certain things with reputable organizations like Chicago Mercantile Board of Trade, right? The Futures Exchange, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is where all the big futures trading takes place. When we start integrating cryptocurrency into those types of environments is when we start, as an economy, start realizing that it's here to stay and that we need to start learning about it. No different than when the first $5 bill was printed, everybody was like, well, what are we going to do with this? And then they start realizing that everybody starts taking it as payment, and it's okay, well, we'll just use that now. That's what happened back in the day. So now what's happening is that cryptocurrency is being accepted and being used by more reputable companies and organizations and industry leaders so that we can basically start to realize that it's actually being adopted and accepted in our economies. And then what'll happen is you and me and all of the other people involved with it we'll start realizing that we need to start learning about this, which is why this course is put on. We need to learn about what it is. How do we get involved with it? How do we understand it? What is its primal purpose? What is its use? How do we participate in it? And how does it benefit our lives? That's the key thing. How can we benefit as people, as an economy, as a society, as businesses? Why should we look to do this, right? Because like we said, change is uncomfortable sometimes. And if we're using money, why would we want to move away from money? We won't move away from using money or legal tender, fiat currency, but why maybe not use both, right? Maybe there's a reason and a purpose for it, right? These are things that we can look at here in this course. And instead of trading just the stock market or futures, why would we not want to participate in trading cryptocurrency? I mean, why wouldn't we want to participate in alternative methods for wealth accumulation, right? Now we can get the ball spinning a little bit, right? So let's kind of talk a little bit about who else is going all in, right? Well, like I said, it's like a domino effect. You start getting a couple big players, and next thing you know, the entire herd follows. It's no different than the greed buyers mentality and, the panic in the markets. If everybody starts slamming the market and we hear about a market crash, next thing you know, everybody starts selling, and next thing you know, the fear steps in, the market tanks, right? Next thing you know, everybody catches a rally, and everybody's excited, and all of a sudden the market's on a huge bull run, right? Everybody gets in. It's the greed and fear mentality. But when it comes to business, these businesses are ultimately looking at alternative ways to optimize efficiency, right? Privacy needs, efficiency for business transactionary needs, looking at understanding what they can do as a business to capitalize on these types of advantages. Like, how can they use blockchain technology for data? How can you use cryptocurrency for facilitating purchasing and servicing their goods and services? How can they use, cryptocurrency for privacy amongst business organizations, these types of things. There's many different ways in which businesses can leverage the use of cryptocurrency and blockchain, okay, so that you understand that. And I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between cryptocurrency and blockchain, so we're going to talk about them in this course, okay? But, you're seeing some pretty reputable, powerful companies here, and they've been around, since test of time, since technology started evolving, and we're just getting started. Right, we're just getting started. In fact, at the time of filming this video, PayPal is now accepting cryptocurrency. Visas and MasterCards are now have cryptocurrency cards. So you can understand that, as long as you know that this is actually a reputable method of getting involved in the financial industry, these companies are using it, so can we, right? So So what's the gist, right? So where do we go from here, right? And so crypto assets are here to stay. They are being built on the foundation of distributed ledgers. So no one central organization can control the full flow of information or storage of data. So it's very important, right? It's not, there's no one dictator. Blockchain is the glue that fosters anonymity, decentralization, and security. So it's a very, very new way of building wealth. It's not looked on and controlled by Big Brother. It's an alternative way for privacy and decentralization for anonymity. And, there's a lot of data security around using the blockchain, especially for companies and so to speak. So I'm really excited to kind of expand on this, right? And how you as a retail trader and investor can participate on this. Let's take a look at the adoption, right? Whenever things start to become used or new in any environment, there's always a process, right? Whenever something new in an industry takes its foothold, there's an infancy stage, then there's an expansion stage, and then there's a maturity stage, right? We're in the infancy expansion stage, right? We're coming out of the new environment of cryptos. Everybody knows it's here to stay, and everybody understands this. But where are we moving in the industry? Are we truly at a mature level? No, because 90% of the people that even I know don't even understand it yet, right? But all of the people that are in the industries are starting to understand it, which is how the world starts to adapt it and understand it, okay? So what we're going to do is, how do we get in, right? What are we doing? As a trader, okay, there's different ways to understand cryptocurrency markets. As a business, it may be different than, say, a retail participant. So traders like you and me, or anybody at that, investors, whether they're short-term speculators or long-term buy and hold investors, there's many different ways to participate. What you're not going to get here with NeuroStreet is some type of pump and dump environment where we just say, well, you just need to buy cryptocurrencies. There's no edge to that. In fact, you will never hear that from us, because I'm not of the belief that anybody that can just want to make money should just go in and put cash into cryptos, and just because it's a new booming concept that they're not going to make money or lose money. That's still gambling in our experience. We don't want to just buy cryptocurrencies, get involved in it, have no understanding of it, and then hopefully it makes money. That's gambling. What we want to do is we want to understand where we are in the industry, understand what's taking place, then educate ourselves on the platforms that are best used, educate ourselves on the cryptocurrencies that are being most heavily traded by day traders and investors, understand how to get an account set up and how to use it, how to access it, how to purchase cryptocurrency, how to basically store cryptocurrency, and how do you get in so that you're not left behind. Or not even left behind, because it's not about trying to get to some destination. It's about how do you use cryptocurrency so that you can use it as a means of payment for purchasing things that you'd like to buy. Maybe you want to use cryptocurrency to day trade, or maybe you want to invest in it longer term. But in order to do that, you need an understanding, and you need to know that it's worthy of that time it's going to take to learn it. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this primer video. It's a good segue into the intro to crypto markets. What we're going to do next is we're going to start talking about distributed ledger technology so that you get an understanding of how to use that moving forward. Okay, so if you have any questions on this first video, rest assured we're just an email away. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video. Welcome back, traders. Now that we got you off to a great start getting into the crypto space, rest assured this is not the end of the road. Below this video, there's going to be a series of links. You definitely want to check out the rest of the videos in the series so that you can learn all you can about crypto trading. Last but not least, hit that subscribe button and be sure to share this video with a friend so they can learn this stuff too. If you have any questions or need assistance, ask them below in the chat box so we can help you get started. We'll see you in the next video.